It's interesting that you think humility gets people places, man. I've been struggling with that lately.
Well, I agree with you in corporate. I agree with you in that regard.
Yeah, that's when I was writing it really in the corporate setting. But I see the same thing with music artists though. Like if you look at the ones who are successful, man, they posit themselves as being real arrogant people.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, people wearing crowns and gold chains and being real gaudy. There was recently a dude, I think Lil Uzi Vert, who got a $24 million diamond put in his
Yeah.
forehead. I mean, that's arrogance, in my opinion. If you got money like that and you showing it like that, to me, that doesn't seem humble, you know?
Well, I think a lot of that, like Biggie wearing a crown, I think that's part of an image. So that's, to me, that might be a different argument. I'm just talking about, honestly, I'm talking about the everyday folks that are just arrogant for no reason. And
Like, oh,
I'm just saying,
let me, outside of that, let's not say no names. Give me an example of what an everyday person does that could be considered arrogant in nature.
I'm saying, like, if you're going on social media and then there's people like always talking about themselves, and when you know these people and they don't have the track record or the stats to back it up, but you just go ahead and be like, yeah, okay, because nobody ever checks them on that. So
It's, that's arrogant or that's just lying?
I mean, I think it's both. I think it's
I
all
mean,
of the above.
so people called our past president arrogant, right? President of
Yeah.
the United States. Say he was an arrogant being, but nobody could say he was unsuccessful. I mean, you might say he was unsuccessful at being a president, but I mean, here you got a billionaire who funded his own campaign. You got a man who won the presidency of one of the highest offices in the world, the highest office in the nation. And a lot of that came on the back of arrogance.
But like I said in the interview, that downfall is steep. And he lost the election and he's about to get impeached and probably
Yeah.
about to go to jail. And he's going down as the worst president ever. And all of that, to me, is damning to a person's ego, even though he's publicly trying to put on a face as to if none of this bothers him at all. But it's eating away at him.
I would suspect so. But the flip side of that is some people, a humble person, may never get to taste that level of success.
Do
I
you
get
want
it. I
to?
get it. The downfall is steep. I think somebody, when I wrote that phrase, actually one of the best responses that I got was, live one day as a lion versus 100 days as a sheep. You know what I'm saying? I get it. The downfall is the arrogant people don't stay at the top long, even in a professional setting. You get there, the shelf life for CEOs or high level people is usually like maybe 5 to 7 years. But to get there, you got to be. Is there some level of elitism? I want to say that has to be shown, and even when you're there, it's like you rarely see the president or the leader of your organization eating with the custodial staff. You know what I'm saying? You don't see them being that humble. At least I don't see leaders being that humble. And that's been one of my things, man, is like to put myself here. I feel like to be arrogant and put myself here and look at other people as being here has been one of the things that I haven't been able to do, and why I think I was not as successful as I wanted to be in corporate America. And why I finally said, you know what? I'm going back into being me, man. I'm going back into rap. I'm going back into collecting because I can't do that. I can't be this elite, arrogant person that most of corporate America needs.
Right. Yeah, I think that you can be humble, but you also have to have that Mamba mentality. We'll just use that to where like nothing's gonna stop you. You have the utmost confidence in your abilities. It might be inward. You might not. It might not be. You might not exude it necessarily, but whatever it takes, no obstacles will stop you from accomplishing whatever it is you want. But if you're asked a question, you're gonna put on that humble face. So it might be fake. I don't know. But internally in your head, you know, like, I'm the shit. But I'm never gonna just go on Facebook or an interview and be like, you know, can't nobody touch me on this interview tip, or I know I'm about to go to this level or that level, or free will. I got the hottest bars coming out of South Carolina in 10 years or so. Like, you're not going to sit in an interview and say that. You might think that.
But if I did, imagine what that would do. Imagine the followers that I would get, or imagine the people who would come in to listen, who would be like, who is this dude saying that he's nicer than everybody in the cat? You know, I'll probably get more people will probably come clicking on the video then than ever before, because they
Right.
want to see who is this dude who thinks he's this and thinks he's that. And that's all I'm saying. Like, the arrogance is what gets rewarded. I'm not saying it's respected. I'm saying you get rewarded with the likes, the follows, the clicks, the promotions. If you come into a job saying, look, I'm the best person for this job. I can get this done, A, B, and C order by this date. I can increase these percentages. They're probably going to hire you versus the dude who comes in and says, yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. You know, that's just the real.
See,
it's not
but
fair.
I don't really think that's arrogance. That's confidence, which in an interview, you're sort of supposed to do that, I feel. You know? You're supposed to sell yourself.
Yeah, it's a thin line, though, especially for Black people, Black men in corporate America presenting themselves. That confidence can be threatening, and people can be like, "Oh no, we don't want to hire a guy that's Black and and overly confident in himself, because then we won't be able to check him, right? Like, he'd be scared to tell your leader he can't do right." But no, I mean, I fancy myself as a humble person, so I get it. And writing that quote on social media was out of frustration from this humility,
right?
And seeing that people who weren't as humble as me were getting opportunities and, you know, rewards that I wasn't. I'm always going to be respected, and those people will always be respected. But in America, the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right.